Here we stand at the Circus Maximus, overlooking the Palatine Hill, and we span over to the Celian Hill, where we head to today's Roman Station Church, Saints John and Paul. Thanks for joining us today at Crux Stationalis. Walking up from the Forum at the Palatine Hill, we pass through these flying buttresses which support the side of the Basilica. Among these buttresses, we find the entrance to the old Roman houses which lie underneath the Basilica, found in 1887 by the rector of the Basilica, as he was searching for the tombs of the martyrs John and Paul, the same John and Paul who we hear of in the Roman canon. The Basilica of Saints John and Paul on the Celian Hill was built in the year 398 by Senator Pamachius over the home of two Roman soldiers, John and Paul, martyred under the Emperor Julian in the year 362. The church was thus called the Titulus Pamachii and is recorded as such in the Acts of the Synod held by Pope Symmachus in the year 499. After two sackings and an earthquake, the church was restored again and the monastery was added in addition to the bell tower around the year 1099. In the sanctuary, we find a series of three frescoes: the martyrdom of St. John, the martyrdom of St. Paul, and the conversion of Terentianus, the one who beheaded both Saints John and Paul. And here lie the remains of Saints John and Paul underneath the high altar. The sanctuary is crowned with this fresco in the apse of Christ in Glory, completed in 1588 by Cristoforo Roncalli. And here is the place of martyrdom of Saints John and Paul, among the Roman complex of houses which lies below the Basilica. The example of these Roman soldier martyrs brings us to another example, that of St. Paul of the Cross. Pope Clement XIV granted the complex of the monastery and the basilica to the Passionists in the year 1773. It was thus established as a retreat, as termed by St. Paul of the Cross in his rule. The rule was written in 1720, and for this the Passionists are still celebrating the 300th anniversary of its having been written. How fitting it is that this basilica was given to Paul of the Cross and his brother, John. These two brothers, while still young, embraced the life of the Passion of Jesus, of which they strived to keep the memory of the Passion alive in their heart and to spread this devotion. And it spread across the Italian peninsula and beyond, inspiring young saints like St. Gabriel of Our Lady of Sorrows and St. Gemma Galgani. A perennial model, but also especially a model for our times, St. Gemma's love for the Passion and her love for the Blessed Sacrament were one and the same. Jesus in the Eucharist and Jesus on the cross would be throughout Gemma's life the inseparable objects of her love. And here we find ourselves at the altar of Our Lady, where the Blessed Sacrament is reposed. Behind this image of Our Lady, we find a Eucharistic throne. The image moves behind the wall to the left and allows for the ability to expose the Blessed Sacrament upon a throne. It's written in the annals of history of the Passionists that the faithful would gather on Sunday evenings here, especially for Eucharistic adoration and benediction. The throne that is found behind this image of Our Lady is not unlike this one of Santissima Trinità dei Pellegrini, being used here for the 40 hours devotion which precedes Lent each year. Also found behind this altar of Our Lady is a 13th century fresco which lies on an older wall of the basilica. I never cease to be amazed when I step into this Basilica of Saints John and Paul, and I realize the span of time which is expressed by the martyrdom of these Roman soldiers, St. John and Paul, and then lived throughout the centuries and recalled wherever the Roman canon is prayed, and given a modern example in the lives of St. Paul of the Cross and his fellow Passionists. And so we take up the maxim of St. Paul of the Cross, a teaching so central to his, where he says, "When you are alone in your room, take your crucifix, kiss its 5 wounds reverently, tell it to preach you a little sermon, and then listen to the words of eternal life that it speaks to your heart. Listen to the pleading of the thorns, the nails, the precious blood. Oh, what an eloquent sermon." Thank you for joining us today on the Roman Station Church itinerary here at Crux Stationalis on this Friday after Ash Wednesday. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel if you have not yet done so. And if you find it worthy, share it with your friends and family. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow at our next Roman Station Church.